Hello. Gee, blew my nose. I think I blew my ear, actually. I was just watching The Five on Fox News, and I have grown to so enjoy my time watching Fox News. And there's a thing on there called Fox Nation. And Kathy Lee Gifford has her own show. She is an actress and a singer, and she chooses to believe in a creator, as I do. And I saw Sunday night last night at 11 o'clock that she was on. And I looked at it, and it said Kathy Lee Gifford, the Jesus that I know. Now you have to, you don't have to do anything, but it will give you an understanding of why I am so impressed with Fox News. I do not believe for a moment that anyone at Fox News would knowingly lead someone off on a tangent, a different direction, premised on an untruth. And the rationale for my being able to say that is this. Fox News is fundamentally a Christian, not organization, as much as a group of, of television people, news people. They're a distinctly different group than news commentators. A commentator will give you, somewhat as I do, an an understanding of how I view what I see on the news. But I sat for an hour last night between 11 and midnight, and I watched Kathy Lee Gifford interviewing Justin Bieber's mom. And she, when she was quite young, 17, I believe, took a shot at committing suicide. And as things worked out, she failed. Good thing. Because that's a decision that is not ours to make. Okay? It's not. If it were, well, there'd be a lot less people around, okay? But it is a decision that only God can make. My eldest son, he says, boy, when he's in trouble, if he's ever on his deathbed, he just would just as soon go to be with the Lord as Noah. And I say, not a hope, boy, not for this old Irish guy. I'm not leaving until I absolutely have to. It's not because I don't believe, but it is because I do believe that there is purpose to our lives. Mine. It may not be a shared appreciation by those around me of my life, but every breath of air that I breathe enables me to process thought. Pretty tough for an Irishman, but it gives me the joy and the peace that passes all understanding, that there is more to my life than what I see. There's more benefit to living than there is in dying. And if you're going to die, make it count for something good. Okay? And I sympathize. I guess I could use the word empathize. That meaning sympathy premised on experience-based sympathy. Because I had a massive heart attack, and I remember I had driven myself to the hospital in my hot little red Corvette, and I knew I had had a heart attack, and I knew that my ex-wife had to head to Mexico City to see her dad once more before they cremated him. Up here, we do, well, I bet we're doing more cremations than we're doing burial services and so on like that. But down there, a person dies, they're going to get planted the next day. I mean, or cremated, one or the other. They don't do refrigeration on bodies. And let me tell you, Mexico is not a cool climb to be in. It's hot. And she had come walking out the door of our house, and I looked at her, and I said, "Your dad died, didn't he?" And she was broken up. And I said, after I consoled her as much as I could, I said, you go start booking your ticket, eh? And get your bags packed," which incidentally, for me, it would take about 10 minutes to pack everything that I'd need to take in one little bag. When I went to Ireland, I carried one carry-on bag, I think. Well, it was 10 years ago anyways. But for me, it's not it's not a production to get ready to go somewhere. It's to throw the necessities of life into a carry-on and get on the plane and go. So she was off to Mexico, and at 4 in the afternoon when she walked out, and I looked at her expression, and I knew her dad had died. And that's the second that I had my massive heart attack, pretty big. And so when I got over to the hospital, I walked in there, and the surgeon, he was at the nurse's station. He is such a pleasant man. He had saved my life not too long before when the horse kicked me. May have been the heart attack first. But anyways, I've been there a couple of times, and I always tell the surgeon, don't screw up your supper, if I don't pull through, because I'm just going to be with my Father, Heavenly Father, and my dad's probably going to be there too. Definitely my mom, not a question. Probably Dad too, and I say this is a natural course of events for a person who believes in God. And that doctor, he said, "You're not going to die, son." And I smiled at him. I said, "I feel like I'm going to die." He said, "No." He said, "I don't think God's done with you yet." And he said, "I've been praying for you ever since you walked in the front door of the hospital, because I had all 7 of the symptoms of a heart attack." And I say all that to say this. when it's time for you to go, you're going to go. So don't rush it. Okay? It's not worth it. And quite frankly, most people, if they can get through heartache and sadness, depression, fear, all those things that rob, steal, and destroy your joy, if you can make it through that crap and survive, things will always look better when you're looking back at what you've been through than they look when you first start to experience the horrors of an early demise. So Kathy Lee Gifford, Justin Bieber's 17-year-old mom, or 17 and a half, and she was carrying Justin Bieber. And I listened to her testimony last night when she was talking to Kathy Lee, and she said, I just knew as a 17-year-old kid that I couldn't kill the baby that she was carrying inside her body. Well, people do what people do, and it's I feel sorry for people because it is a hardship. There's no doubt, but there is a hardship on the other side of aborting a baby as well. She chose to not only birth Justin Bieber, but she chose to raise him the best she could. Imagine a 17-year-old kid, less than 18, having a baby, and she would not adopt that child out because she said, in her mind's eye, it was her responsibility to make the best for that kid that she could. And she did. And so I look at Fox News and I see people like Hannity. He he was great friends with Duck Dynasty crew, and Phil Robertson. He was always saying to Hannity, we should baptize you. And Hannity, he said, where would we do that? And Phil said, we'd just go right down to the river. And Hannity said, I'm not getting in the river. And Phil said, well, why not? Hannity said, moccasins, not the kind you wear on your feet. Gators. Hannity said, I'm not going under the water. You want to do it, let's do it in a swimming pool where I can check and make sure there are no critters in there that are going to cause me damage. People say, well, that's a little lacking in faith. I don't think it is. I think it's relying on a little bit of intelligence. I don't even like snakes. I mean, I really don't. I really don't. Gators? Not likely. The sharks? No. No, thank you. Not at all. Not a little. Not good. Okay. God bless, Satan. Thank you. Kathy Lee Gifford. She wrote a book. It's called The Jesus That I Know. She interviewed a lot of people. And I mean a lot of people. And she's on Fox Nations. And you can't get that up here. I mean, apparently. Well, I haven't been able to. But nonetheless. I just wanted you to know. Kathy Lee Gifford, the Jesus that I know. God bless you. God bless.